Hello, my darling listener. It's me, Jason Paul, and you're here in the Soul Sync. Now, this conversation is a story which will blow your mind. And it takes me back to the very beginning of when I started unfolding my mediumship and developing it, which was all the way back about 5 years ago now. It must be 5 or 6 years ago. I was with my mum on holiday in Greece, and we started having a conversation about death. And, she was like, well, it's the most natural thing ever. It happens to us all. And I just said, Mum, I don't want to talk about this. This absolutely petrifies me. And it made me realise that, why am I so scared of it? So she was reading a book on holiday, and it was a book called Proof of Heaven. I believe it was called by an author called Teresa Chung. And the book documents all these different people who have had near-death experiences. And the book I just found fascinating. And that literally sent me down a whole rabbit hole of researching near-death experiences, which brought me to talk to Dr. Eben Alexander, who was in one of the much earlier episodes of the Soul Sync, and I was really honoured and grateful for him to come on because he's a neurosurgeon whose worldview prior to near-death experiences was one of the spirit world doesn't exist. Everything is a scientific point of view. It's all about matter and the physical world. So, and he was known for that. He would teach at universities. He was so respected, one of the world's leading neurosurgeons. So when he had one, he was unconscious due to meningitis, I believe, for 7 days. And then he came round, and it was how it changed him. Every single thing he stood for, that his life was built around, that he would talk about, that he was respected for, changed because he suddenly realised that, he went to heaven and back. So it changed everything, and it was a fascinating conversation. But that's to one side. We're talking to Emily Schulz today, who hasn't just had one near-death experience. She's actually had two. And this profound awakening that she had, how it really unfolded, and also her relationship with fear, control, and even her identity changed as a result of this. So Emily now works as a hypnotherapist with a real strong focus on trauma, subconscious healing, integration after profound experiences such as this. So if you're new to near-death experiences, perhaps you've never heard of someone having one before, I just invite you to listen with curiosity. What really struck me about this was just how Emily's life changed after she had them. And it says so much about if you manage to survive a near-death experience, your life changes in every way after them. So this really isn't sensational or dramatic. This conversation with Emily, it's honest, it's human, it's reflective, and it's a conversation about awakening, purpose, fear and trust, and just listening to life. So it's a beautiful conversation. You're going to enjoy it. This is my conversation with Emily Schulz, titled Two Near-Death Experiences That Changed Everything. So Emily, firstly, a massive warm welcome onto the Soul Sync podcast.
Thank you, Jason. I feel so honored to be here today.
Well, I feel so honoured to have you here, so thanks very much. So, firstly, I was reading through your notes, and your story, I must say, well, it certainly made me think we're going to have a very interesting conversation. So, as I said in the intro, you had a near-death experience at 18 months old, which in itself sounds absolutely crazy. Tell us all about your story then. Let's go right back in time.
Yeah, so at 18 months old, I had an ear infection that caused a really high fever. At the time, I lived in a very small town. My parents said I had completely stopped breathing. I was turning blue, and they had to drive me to the local doctor. So they took me to the local doctor. The doctor resuscitated me, and then I don't remember any of it because I was so young. And then from that point on, I was in a hospital for a good week and under an oxygen tent to try to make sure that limit the brain damage that was done. The reason I bring this up is I didn't have like any spiritual experience at this time because one, I was too young, I don't remember. But the thing that happened, there was brain damage that was caused. And so I bring it because I had learning disabilities as a child. I still have challenges with like processing things, sometimes finding words or whatever. There's just like something that is not connecting. But as a young child, I had to overcome my disabilities so that I could be somewhat normal. I just wanted to be normal in the world. So I basically sacrificed my entire childhood so I could fit in. And it was something that, one, I'm an empath. As an empath, and I didn't know this at the time, but as an empath, we feel everybody's feelings. We're also very intuitive. Knowing how people think and feel about you, you want to overcompensate. You want to show that you are worthy. When you see people think that you're not equal or you're not smart or whatever it is that people were thinking about me, I wanted to prove them wrong. So I overcompensated. I became an overachiever. And I went down a completely different path than I believe I would have if I never had that near-death experience as a child. My mom said that I was like the happiest baby ever, and that happened. And then I just became this high-stress, like workaholic child. I didn't have a lot of friends. I just worked so that I could get through school. As my parents didn't think that their goal was for me to get through high school. They didn't think I could even go on to college. I proved them wrong. I went on to college, but it was at a great cost for me because it was just complete burnout. And again, I lost sense of who I was. So if we fast forward to 2015, when I had my other near-death experience, prior to that, I had 2 very successful businesses that I owned and operated. Again, I was trying to prove my worth to the outside world. I wasn't living for me. I just wanted people to think that I fit in and I was normal. It was unfortunately a program that I had created for myself from my young childhood. So I was burnt out. I was exhausted. I'm running these 2 businesses. And at the same time, I was married to a gentleman who I knew I needed to leave the marriage for 7 years prior, but I didn't have the confidence and the courage to leave the marriage. I just didn't know how to do it. I wanted out. I was so unhappy, but I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want to devastate him. Again, that is a huge trait of an empath. An empath trying to overcompensate for everybody else. Instead of allowing him to have his own feelings and his own emotions, I was taking them on as mine, which is so unhealthy, not only for me, but for him. It was enabling him. It was not fair for him for me to do that.
I can relate in a lot of what you've said already because I worked myself into the ground, running a business, growing a business to similar numbers of digits, do you know what it was? It was, I think for me as well, it was about getting acceptance because as a child, I had a loving home from my mum, but at school I was bullied. Growing up, I was bullied. And I think that resulted in me absolutely working to sort of prove that, I'm worthy of this and I'm worthy of that. But I've noticed myself, it's funny what you're saying because I used to go, I'm going, oh yeah, I can totally relate to that. And what I think as well is I definitely, even in my own business, take on other people's problems, worries and whatever. And that's still something I'm bloody trying to work on now. And it's still not something I feel I've cracked. I feel that I'm always, overcompensating. So that's interesting. How old was you? So I've got so many questions already. You've just given me the quickest whistle stop too. And I've got so many questions, but I want to go back to, I do want to talk about this marriage because I think that I want to know how you got out of that and how you mustered up that strength because that's not easy in itself. But to go back to the near-death experience in 2015, so what was happening with your life at the time? Where was you? What was you doing? It sounds like you was at the top of a business empire.
Mm-hmm. I was having great success. I was being invited to mingle with, I was a third-party seller on Amazon, and I was invited up to Amazon headquarters as one of the top 300 female entrepreneurs and to mingle with the whole C-suite executives up there at the time. Life was on the outside really great. It looked amazing. I was married to this man that I knew I needed to exit the marriage. I was burnt out. I was dead on the inside, Jason. There was nothing there. I think you can relate.
I can.
Yeah. Working your way up and trying to prove your worth to the outside world. Meanwhile, there's no proving yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
And I remember just like, I'm a very visual person. And so I could remember seeing my inside turning black. There was nothing there. And the outside material stuff meant absolutely nothing to me.
It's the same with me. I got to the point where I thought it would all bring me happiness in abundance. And then I was like, it doesn't bring me any happiness. So I can relate to that.
What a tough lesson to learn.
It's a very tough. Do you know the toughest thing about it as well is it's what drives you for so long to build the business, to start the business, to grow the business, and you keep going and you keep going. Then you get to this thing going, okay, soon, when I got that thing, you're going to be happy. Da, 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 da. And then you get to the top and you go, I'm still not happy yet, but I'm getting happier. It's a holiday problem. I'll be happy when I get that holiday. No, still not feeling happy. And then you suddenly get to a point where you go, what the bloody hell am I doing this all for?
Exactly. Yeah, the carrot kept moving. The carrot was moving. It never was there.
But then you have people around you, probably from a time where, and I'm making assumptions here based on my own story. You probably had people around you going, Emily, what are you moaning about? Your life's perfect. You've got what most people would dream of. You've got everything, Emily.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Not knowing how.
And then you start to lose your friends from you outgrow them, don't you? And then you go for a period of probably having no friends because you haven't found your new tribe yet. Sorry, I'm not trying to tell your story for you, Emily. These are just some of the points.
I love our parallel lives. I absolutely love it because it's so relatable. And it's something that money doesn't buy happiness. It can make life easier, but it does not buy happiness. And the other thing, the biggest lesson here too for me was understanding that what people think of me doesn't even really truly matter. Because it's formed from their own life. They don't really know who I am because you're bringing up that point of people judging us on the outside. Your life is perfect when it's not. And they're judging us on something that they don't even know what's going on. There's so many different layers to everyone's lives. And it's not true. Our place to judge where somebody's at. We don't know what they've walked through.
So what happened with your near-death experience then?
Yeah, so I'm at this like catalyst in my life. Everything is looking great on the outside, but the inside's dead. And I remember I had to go to the doctor for just a minor procedure. And I'm driving to the doctor. And usually when I go to the doctors, I'm like nervous and stressed. I hate going to the doctors. But this time I'm driving and I have like this total peace. I'm like, everything's going to be okay. Whatever happens, everything will be okay. No stress. Go to the doctor and my doctor injects me with something. And the moment she injects me, all of a sudden, I went from feeling peaceful, no stress, to feeling just awful. If you've ever fainted, it felt like that, but amplify it by 100. The feelings, the sensations, just the wooziness, the dizziness, everything just was so intense. And I remember trying to say to my doctor, I need help, but my mouth wouldn't move. And then I was trying to say, I was thinking, I have to put my head between my legs so I can get the blood to my head so I won't faint. I didn't want to faint. And I'm just in this really discomfort in this moment. And then all of a sudden, I transition into this black space, this void. And I'm there and it's euphoric and it feels just heavenly. It's filled with love. It's limitless. It's just expansive energy. And I'm there and I'm floating up and I see a white light with a silhouette at it and right in front of the white light. And so I'm floating towards it. And I don't even know at this moment that I'm transitioning, but I'm just at peace. Whereas moments prior, I was miserable. And now I'm in this peaceful state and I'm just so grateful I'm here. And then I realized, oh, I'm transitioning. Okay, I'm ready. I'm good. And so I start to transition. And then all of a sudden, as I agree to transition, I think to myself, my mom, my dad, and my beloved dog, Buster, are going to be devastated when they find out that I passed over. And as an empath, we're always thinking about everyone else's feelings because we feel their feelings. However, this was the most amazing experience for me, Jason, because I'm in this moment thinking about them, but I'm not taking on their emotions. I'm detached. This is the first time in my life I felt detached from somebody else's emotions. I could see that they would have some rough patches in front of them, but I was okay with that. I was like, they're going to be okay. And as I was thinking about them and thinking they'd be okay, at the same time, I was shown 3 timelines. They look like thermometers with the liquid mercury in them. Mm-hmm. And each of them had the liquid mercury as a marker of how long they would be in like devastating or crippling grief. Because that's all I cared about. I was like, I just don't want the rest of their lives, each of their lives, to be in crippling griefs. I want them to be able to move on in their life. And each of them it was a portion of their life, but it wasn't the remainder. It was a smaller portion to the balance of their life for each of them. So I thought, okay, that's great. I can go. I can transition now. And so I started to transition. And as I was transitioning, out of nowhere, I saw this energy cloud come at me at a force. And then it forced me back into my physical body. So I was forced back into my physical body. I woke up. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was. My doctor's yelling, Emily. I didn't know who my doctor was, and I didn't know who Emily was. The confines of the exam room was very restrictive. It felt super awful being confined. I just came from this expansive space where there was nothing to hold me back. It was limitless. And now I'm in this tight body that hurt to be in. I'm in this tight room and I don't know who I am. I don't even know who this woman is that's yelling at me. I don't know if she's there to harm me or help me. I have no clue. It took me some time to like gather my thoughts and go, okay, I think I'm Emily. I think she's here to help me. And it took a good, I would say, 30 minutes to really understand who I was again. What had happened in the physical realm was I had a seizure and I completely stopped breathing. My heart stopped, everything stopped, and my doctor had to resuscitate me. So when she resuscitated me, that force pushed me back into my body.
How long was you? How long in time was you? Well, yeah, I'm just wondering how long was you clinically not breathing for?
I don't know. I never asked my doctor, and she's no longer in business. I don't know how long I was out for. I wonder because of the concept of the time in the physical world versus how long you felt your experience was in the other level of consciousness where you obviously were. Yeah, Jason, that's a really fascinating point because probably it was less than a few minutes that I was out. I don't know. I honestly don't have the concept, but I would say that in the spirit realm, there is no time. And it just felt like I was there for eternity. It felt like I was there for a long time.
I can understand that because because when I first got interested in all of this, what would I say? What was the catalyst for me getting interested in all of this was near-death experiences. So I did a lot of research into them years ago because people have heard this story on the podcast before, so I'm not going to hash over it. But basically, it was me having a conversation with my mum, being really scared about death. And then I said to her, I'm so scared about death, I don't want to talk about it. And she gave me this book about near-death experiences, and that's what kind of catapulted it off. But it's interesting because a lot of people who have them, say that their perception was they could have been there for, again, you can't talk about the time, but they would describe it in a way that is much, 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 much longer than the actual time that they were clinically, because if they were clinically gone for that long, then obviously they probably wouldn't be back in them.
Some people are miracles.
I know. It's interesting. So because at that, before you had that, you were living the life of, trying to find happiness within your professional endeavors and the material world, which obviously wasn't going anywhere. So what was life like for Emily from the moment that you very thankfully came out of this horrible medical experience and this near-death experience of yours then?
Right. So I was different. I was a different person. I was not the same person at all. I came out within 6 months. I had divorced my husband. I didn't have any emotion towards it, no attachment. I closed my businesses within a year. I just kind of walked away from the life that led me astray for my purpose. What had happened, and I've had 4 different psychics tell me this, and I've done a huge deep dive into it myself. It's a concept that not widely talked about and highly controversial, but I had a partial walk-in. And so what a walk-in is when a spirit transitions and a different spirit will come into the physical body and take over the physical body to live out whatever that other spirit wanted to finish off.
Say that again a bit slow. Right, let me just get my head around that for a second.
Okay. Yeah, it's very
so
weird.
a walk-in is... Right, tell me that again, because
a walk-in is when a soul, not a spirit, a soul transitions and another soul wants to come in to live out whatever their purpose was. And so they will take over the physical body so that they can live out what they want.
Oh, so the person... So...
The original occupant, the original soul will actually be gone and the new soul comes in.
Oh, so it's like me then, for instance, I go up to the spirit world, but then a lovely person decides they want to come down and use my body.
As a channeler or something? Is that what you're...
Yeah, I just want you to say the concept of it is I've gone to my soul has gone to spirit world, but a soul from the other level of consciousness then comes down and
they want to finish out whatever they have to finish. Mm-hmm. Okay. So like I have a friend, this happened to her. She had a walk in, a spiritual awakening that her soul left and a whole different soul came in. And when she came out of it, she didn't connect with anyone at all.
So what happened to her? So her soul left, but then her soul came back into her body.
So a different soul came in, yeah.
A different soul came in, but then did she come back eventually to tell you the story?
She did not.
Oh.
Although I have a client that has a similar story, but her original soul has actually merged back into her. So it's kind of convoluted. It's kind of crazy, but it happens. So mine is a partial walk-in. So mine, it's a spiritual awakening. My soul was so depleted, Jason. There was nothing there. Remember I said it was black on the inside? My soul was like, I'm out. I am out. You hear of near-death experiences where people hover and they look over their body. They have the out-of-body experience and they're looking down and see. Mine was like, see ya. I don't care what's going on with my physical body. I'm out.
Yeah.
So what I have really done a deep dive into and worked with other gurus on this is I had a more mastered aspect of my soul from a parallel life that came in and joined my original soul to help me get through what I needed to get through in this lifetime. It was not my time to go, but I needed help. My soul had nothing else to give. I had created such a tangled mess that I didn't know how to untangle it. So this more mastered aspect of me came in and said, all right, let's get this untangled and get you on track of where you need to go.
I've got so many questions. Not pre-prescribed written out questions, because I don't normally do that. But so sometimes, when my brain is computing, the cogs are turning. So how did you know that, well, what's it even like when another soul comes into your humanly body? What does that, are you fighting for them? You say, who are you? Where have you come from? What does it look like?
You don't know.
I'm making this humorous, but I think that's just my natural style.
No, I think it's an excellent question. You don't know, but you're different. You're so different. Your change of music, food, friends, all of that shifts and changes. Again, I couldn't leave my husband. Within 6 months, I was like, bye, I'm gone. No tears. I was a different person. And so
how did you know that's what happened? Okay.
I didn't. So it's confusing and it's isolating because you don't know who you are. You've changed. So I had 4 different spiritual gurus, and none of them know each other. All tell me the exact same thing, that I had this partial walk-in, a more mastered aspect of my soul stepped in to help me. And so,
like a spirit guide.
Yes, exactly. Like a spirit guide, but are you familiar with parallel lives?
No, I might be, but tell me anyway.
Okay, and this gets a little confusing too. I'm adding more confusion to this podcast, Jason. I'm so sorry.
No, this happens. We go down rabbit holes, but I love it because I'm this probably appeals to my ADHD brain, this conversation. So I'm keeping up. I don't know about anyone else, but I am.
I know, right? Sorry, guys. So parallel lives, we have multiple lives going on at the exact same time. Remember we talked about in the spiritual realm, there's no sense of time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's no time in the world. So what's happening past, present, and future, that's all happening now. In this very moment. There's also parallel lives. There's theories out there that when you make a decision, I'm going to start this business, or I'm not going to start this business. The moment you say, okay, I'm going to go with starting the business, well, there's a part of your soul that chooses to not start the business, creating a parallel life. Mm-hmm. So there's a theory out there.
I know. Do you know what you're saying? I totally agree with what you're saying, and that is my belief system, because I do believe that time is, well, it's not a thing, but I struggle to process and get my head around that past Jason of 2 years ago, present Jason, and future Jason is all
happening.
I get it, but my brain struggles to compute it because it's so unhumanly and unphysical. I struggled. I still, even now, if I was to try and explain it, I couldn't explain it in a very good way.
Me either. I'm still grasping it. I mean, it's a theory that I have studied, and it's really hard to grasp.
It is, because it's so far from our level of consciousness and perception, isn't it?
100%.
So back to the point.
There's an Emily that's more mastered, that knew how to get out of the mess that I had created with living up to everybody else's expectations but my own. She knew how to come in and help guide me through this process. That is what happened in my situation. And that's why within months, my whole life had transitioned. But I will say, it didn't happen overnight for me to understand who I was. And it can be very, like I said earlier, isolating for anyone that has had this walk-in. Whenever I talk about walk-ins, people will reach out to me because they're like, this totally happened to me. And I finally understand why. They lose friends. They have just everything shifts and changes. And it can be you feel like you're mentally like losing it because something has changed. But in actuality, it's learning how to acclimate to this new soul that has come into your body and learn how to work with it. And once you know how to, you can propel your life forward so much faster than you would have ever been able to if you had stayed in the same mess that you had created for my situation that I created for myself.
You just made me think of something as well, which is, it's annoying me now. You've just given me a light bulb moment. Someone mentioned to me recently that you can travel forward in time, and it's going to really annoy me now because I know. So I come across so many conversations all the time, and someone tells me something of gold, and I write it down, and I've got so many different places I write things down, but Do you know what? I'm going to have to find it straight after this conversation. It's going to annoy me now, but someone told me that I could effectively send a message or go and visit future Jason in 100%. 2 years' time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To go, because I want to know what my life might look like in, say, 3 years' time. I'm quite curious, but I can go and visit that Jason. Mm-hmm. I just can't remember how to do it because I've lost it.
So this is something I do with my clients, and it's a great way to manifest. Is I'll guide them through visualizations where we will take them into their future self, and then we will basically merge their current self with their future self, and then bring that future self energy back into the present so that they are aligned with that timeline to get whatever it is that they want in that future self.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. How do you do that? You're setting the intent and then saying, right, okay, I want to go in this meditation experience how would I mechanically do it, would you say?
Yeah, so it's a guided meditation.
We're going down another rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's all good. Both ADHD, it's all good.
Yes.
Yeah. Going into a guided meditation, I will take my clients into the quantum 0 point, where everything in the fourth dimension, it's like your playground to create whatever you want. So I will take them into that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, you can create whatever you want. I'll tell you a story in a minute, but I will take them there, and then I will take them fast forward into the future of where they are anywhere 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. I don't like to go further than that because it's really hard to get back on that right timeline. You know, there's so many different changes that can be.
It could be really overwhelming. I don't think I'd want to see Jason at age 50 fast forward 13 years. I think that I don't know if I'd want to see that Jason. I'm quite happy to see the Jason of 3 years time, but I don't want to see the Jason of 60.
Yeah, because we're not necessarily supposed to, because it could be very overwhelming to say, how did I even get here?
Very overwhelming. Yes.
Yeah. And that our minds can only handle so much. But yes, if it's a few years down the road and then you can align with that energy, bring that energy forward, then you can absolutely do it. But yeah, I will tell you, I often will go into the fourth dimension to manifest things that I want. And one story I want to share with you is one time I went into the fourth dimension and I had a dog, female dog. She had a brown patch on one eye and white face otherwise. And she was very strong, very energetic. And one day she and I were going on a run and I'm like, you know what? I want a male dog that has a patch on the other side. I want him to be small and I want him to be mellow. So I went into the fourth dimension and I created this dog and I want him an old soul. I want him to be my soulmate. Within 6 weeks, this dog that I created in the fourth dimension showed up in my life.
Oh my God.
It happens.
That's incredible.
So yeah, it's knowing how. So through guided meditation, hypnotherapy techniques I use in my meditations, I can take my clients into the future. I can take them into the fourth dimension to manifest whatever it is that they want and then bring it forward into the present.
I'm currently trying to do that using binaural beats because it seems to work for me. And I must admit, I don't want to keep plugging one company's binaural beats, but there's this company, Sacred Acoustics. Have you come across them?
I haven't. I'll have to.
I really like them. I've actually interviewed the founder of it, but basically Dr. Eben Alexander, who wrote the book Proof of Heaven, his partner owns a company called Sacred Acoustics, and I think they're like the gold standard of binaural beats. And they do so many different ones, like ones to travel. Actually, where's my phone? I'll tell you, there's a few actually, which I really like.
I would totally look them up after this.
Do you know what? I'm all about plugging something that I think is good. So they do one that is the Crystal Portal, where you can go to a crystal cavern and access. But the one where I think is relevant to what you're talking about is they do one called Primordial Mind. And it's in the beginning, there was a primordial mind, a primary consciousness formed into a fabric of imagination, intelligence, and potential. And then you can basically travel. And that fourth dimension, I think you're addressing, is the primordial minds.
Yes.
But I'm working through it very kindly. Sacred Acoustics did give me some of these meditations for free.
Awesome.
So
the best time to listen to them is when you sleep at night.
do you know what? I've started doing, funnily enough, you say that. That's when I actually do them, and I put the headphones in. And sometimes I'll have I've learned to stop being hard on myself, because sometimes I'll put the headphones in. After 10 minutes, I'll think, no, I'm done now. I'm done. And then other times I'll have them in 20 minutes later. But it's actually part of my bedtime routine now. I don't go to bed without listening to the binaural beats, because I get a better night's sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's another one here.
Full pack.
Called the Spiral. This is what I've been. This is quite interesting as well. Honestly, if anyone from Sacred Acoustics is listening, this is a massive another plug. So they do the Spiral of Time, which says time is a construct that allows us to bring order to events, although its actual nature is a complete mystery. And this is what you've been saying as well. Consider that all points in time and space are accessible to you.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's what works for you, isn't it? For me, I think that the binaural beats work because they get my brain into the right.
Yeah, well, that's the key is you have to bring your brain waves down in order to manifest and get into that state. If your brain waves are in beta, you can't. It's just not, you're never going to be able to access that fourth dimension.
What's your go-to way of getting clients into that state then? Because that's not an easy state to get, especially in the modern world we live in. How on earth do we, it's taken me about a very long time to even work out the basic foundation. And it's funny, isn't it? Because really, when you strip it back, it's just do nothing. Just think of nothing. Just be. But it's so much harder.
We've been programmed to just always be on the go. And our cell phones are not helping. The internet's not helping.
None of these things are helping.
No, because we don't know how to unplug. With my clients, when I work with them, I use hypnotherapy techniques to help bring their brainwaves down so that they can be in a space to manifest and access whatever it is that they need to be accessing.
So it's interesting we use hypnotherapy. So you obviously, I know we've jumped all over the place now, but that's mainly my fault. So you had this experience of your future self coming back, acted as a catalyst for you to, finish with your husband and so on. Tell us more about the story then. What happened? So the business, then you decided you wanted to.
My businesses go.
Yeah.
But I still had to make money.
Yes.
I became a hermit. It was just me and my dog. And I still had to make money. And my ego knew how to do the Amazon business. So I went to work for a company to do we ran people's brands on Amazon. And within a few years of working there, within a few months, I got demoted. Because of my brain damage, I have, I spell things wrong, say things wrong. So I got demoted. They wanted to fire me, but they couldn't. And ultimately, it's my soul was like, you're not supposed to be here. But I didn't know how. I'm alone. I have to take care of myself. I have to support myself. And this is the skill I have. So I kept working for this company. I was demoralized. I was humiliated, but I kept working. And eventually they laid me off. But as they were laying me off, I was also a trained copywriter. And so I started to write. I knew I had to move on. I knew my soul was like, you don't belong here. You need to go in the spiritual realm. So I started to reach out to different spiritual gurus to write their copy for them. And so I was always kind of behind the scenes writing the copy for different spiritual gurus. Meanwhile, my spirit guides kept saying, you need to step out of hiding and you need to be forward facing. I was working with a few different spirit mentors to help me harness my gifts because my spiritual gifts just ignited after my NDE. They were always there, but they were just so much stronger. And so I hired some gurus to really help guide me on my gifts and how to use them and how to keep them sacred and safe, not only for myself, but my clients. That's very important to me. I've had early on in my life, I was always connected to spirit, but it wasn't always high vibe spirits. There were lower elements that were destructive and caused some havoc. So I wanted to make sure that it was safe and sacred for myself and my clients. And so I worked years on developing my skills. I still do every day. It's work and harnessing it and honing in on the skill. It's, I really believe it's a lifelong journey, but eventually at one point, my guides about 2 years ago said, it's time. And they basically kicked me out from hiding behind all the spiritual gurus that I was writing for and made me go out and start to do this work on my own. And that's where I'm at today. So now I work primarily with empaths. I love working with empaths to help them turn their sensitivities into their strengths. Their sensitivities can be so paralyzing at times that they don't know how to work with them. And people judge us as highly sensitive people as thinking we're weak or we're vulnerable. And that's not the case. We're actually really powerful people. And understanding what's your energy and what's somebody else's and knowing how to protect yourself so that you can fully step into your gifts is what I love to work on with my clients.
What's kind of the advice? Obviously, you're helping people, in empaths, and obviously this show is a home for empaths. We love you very much.
I love my empaths.
We love them too. They're pretty much 99% of the listeners, empaths. But what advice would you give to fellow empaths then in terms of helping them to develop, unlock their skills? Because us empaths, we're a sensitive bunch. We also, we've all been through the mincemeat machine. I think a lot of us empaths, like you said, we're just a magnet to other people's problems. But in terms of developing, feeling more attuned, feeling more connected, what advice or lessons or pearls of wisdom can you give us?
Yeah. So there's a load of...
There's so much, I know, but I've asked... You could talk for another hour just about that.
The biggest thing for an empath is every day cut cords. Cut cords with whoever you've energetically connected with. It could be something on TV, whatever it is, people, you want to cut cords. So generally I cut cords morning and night, start my day off fresh, and at nighttime to clear all that energy. The next thing is to...
How does one cut a cord? Is there a particular ritual or just go, that's gone, thank you?
So when you're saying an invocation, you want to say it from your heart. You really, really want to connect with your heart, not just say it in your mind. And your heart is, I will call in Archangel Michael. So I'll invoke Archangel Michael in, and I will ask him to cut all cords off of me that do not belong or serve me. And I will ask him to cut it above me, below me, in front of me, behind me, and to the left and to the right of me. And I ask him to send all that energy back to its origin, whole and healed. Then I call my energy back to me, whole and healed through all time, space, and dimensions, and I release all negative karma. So that's how I cut cords. And again, I'm saying it from my heart. I'm invoking Archangel Michael in to do this for me. And I'm giving him gratitude for this. So he does this every morning and every night. And then I also will ask him to put me in a brilliant blue bubble. Now, this is vital for empaths. We need to protect our energy field. So when I visualize him putting me in a brilliant blue bubble that is 5 feet around me, because that's my energy field. That's all of our energy field is 5 feet around us. And so I ask him to put me in a brilliant blue bubble and keep me protected throughout the day. So those are, as a tip to start your day, clear all energy that doesn't belong to you and protect your energy field so that other people's energy field cannot penetrate in. I do have one more tip. I don't know if you want me to go.
Please do. Please do.
I don't want to get too confusing for people, but then what I do on the outside, I visualize of the bubble. I visualize a mirror totally covering the surface of it. Then I visualize a light, a white light, then a mirror, then a white light, and then a mirror. So it's 3 layers mirror, 2 layers light. So in case somebody's energy really does want to penetrate into me, first it hits the mirror and it goes back to them. Then it goes to the light and it gets cleansed and transmuted to love and light. And it may go back. But I have 5 layers, extra layers on top of the bubble to protect myself. And I tell you what, Jason, this has transformed my life because I don't take on other people's energy. If I'm walking downtown to go to a cafe or whatever, I always make sure I have my protection on. So I'm not getting other people's energy in my energy.
Interesting. Yeah, I need to start putting my own suit of armor on, I think, Emily. I need to start doing that more myself, actually.
It makes a difference.
It does make a difference. My problem is I'm probably where you was a good few years ago in terms of straight out of bed, jump into the shower, day starts again.
Put in the shower. Yeah, you just have to be conscious of it. But the more awakened you become, the more susceptible you are to other people's energy. So
I've noticed that I am starting to become a lot more sensitive, and I feel like it's going like that up more and more, my sensitivity.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't think we could have got more into this conversation if we tried. I'm gonna have a right difficulty trying to write the show description on this one, Emily, because we covered so much.
It was fun. We had a blast.
Oh, we've had a great time. Well, if people want to learn more about you, as always, can go to show notes where all the details to find Emily are there. But would you like to leave us on a final thought or a pearl of wisdom or something today?
Yeah, let me think. Empaths
Could be anything.
Yeah, I'm just kind of getting a channeled message right now that empaths are such like wise and old souls, and what Spirit is saying is just like they're showing me this. What is it? A diamond in your heart, and to cherish that. That's the core. They're showing like that's the core of you. You are this like precious gem that is kind of hidden. You know how they're showing me now, like how diamonds or precious gems all have this exterior that's hard and it's ugly and it's raw in the raw shape. Well, an empath that hasn't really truly been developed, that's what they're showing me. But as you chip away and you keep chipping away at these layers and layers and layers of holding on to other people's expectations, holding on to, living up for everyone else but yourself. But as you start to slowly chip away at that, the diamond is going to start to show, and it will move. They're showing me, I love this. Thank you. They're showing me that this diamond will grow. It continues to grow. And it goes from being in your heart, and it's all of a sudden it's in your total auric field. You are just this beautiful diamond that is shining out to the world and bringing so much truth, wisdom, and compassion in the world. They're also saying right now that compassion is the number one thing that our world needs in this moment. Without compassion, we live in complete devastation. So empaths, it is your time. It is your time. It is your time to shine bright.
Whew. I love that. What? 10 out of 10 now. I love that. Well, Emily, all that leaves me to say is thank you so much for coming onto the Soul Sync.
Thank you, Jason, for having me.